Come on in, Congressman Adam Smith. He is the ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee. With us once again here on the Hill. Congressman, I asked you the other day if you could come on back, and you did. I'm grateful that you have. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. I found it interesting that the president said today, I'm not here to negotiate for Ukraine. I'm here to get them to the table. What did you make of those comments, and are you on board with that approach?
Yeah, I think I am. I mean, I think it's a realistic approach. Look, I mean, what we want is we do want an end to the war. I mean, that's certainly important for Ukraine and Russia, but it's also important to the world. This has been a devastating war. So you want that, but you also want it done in such a way that doesn't set Putin up to be able to use aggression further in Ukraine or elsewhere. And that's why it's so important that we have a sovereign democratic Ukraine that's capable of defending itself when that war comes to an end. So those are the two goals. And I think that is an appropriate role that President Trump can play, is to help push forward that conversation. I just hope he also understands the role that the U.S. can play in making sure that the coalition supporting Ukraine remains strong, and that the U.S. uses its power to show Putin that he can't take Ukraine. He has to get to a negotiated settlement. This is the part we've talked about before that I think President Trump has undermined that unity in the past. He's changing his tone a little bit. But if he does that, then I think that moves us forward towards a more positive trajectory.
I spoke to, you and I talked earlier in the week, and I spoke yesterday to someone who you certainly know of, if you haven't spoken with in the past, former Ambassador Bill Taylor, who was the ambassador there in Ukraine. And he said this, it stood out to me, and I want to get your reaction on the other side.
Sure.
That President Trump has a real advantage going into these conversations. He's got cards, as he says. He has the ability to put pressure on President Putin to come to the table for a ceasefire.
It kind of struck me in my interview yesterday with him, Congressman, how bullish he was on the prospects of something good coming out of this. What about that concept of the president holding the cards here?
Well, he does, but you can have the cards, but you also have to play them correctly. And yes, we are in position to put pressure on Russia in a variety of different ways. Sanctions is certainly an option the president has talked about, but again, strong support for Ukraine is another way to do that. The president thus far has not played those cards well. If he does play them, if he applies that pressure that Ambassador Taylor alluded to, that's the crucial step that needs to happen here. And, you know, they've been talking, I guess, for the last 2-3 hours now. We will learn slowly what came out of that conversation. But I agree with Ambassador Taylor of how President Trump should have approached this conversation, put pressure on Putin.
Our Kelly Meyer, who's in the room, texting me a minute ago, we're in our seats. So it appears as if we could be potentially getting close. Obviously, we live look there in Anchorage. Congressman, real quick, let me leave you with this. When you do hear from Trump and Putin side by side, you want to hear what?
Well, first of all, I'm worried about the side-by-side, because is this simply empowering Putin, you know, putting him on an equal stage? What I want to hear is I want to hear from President Trump what we are going to do to play those cards, put pressure on Putin to force him to end the war. Look, Ukraine would happily stop the war tomorrow. They were the ones that attacked and invaded. Putin is the one who can stop the war, and I want to hear from President Trump. That's his focus.
Adam Smith is the ranking member on the House Armed Services Committee, with us once again here on the Hill. Congressman, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.